We kept hearing that our sales for our season ticket opener were going up and up and up, and by the time we were rolling around the last 2 games of our road trip, we had heard it was sold out. So everybody was kind of excited to get home and see what this was going to be all about. You know, our first chance here, their first chance to see us, and we'd been playing very well. We were like 7-3-1 or something like that coming back home. So we were excited, and the fans were excited. I'm not sure they knew what to expect. We weren't sure really quite what to expect.
By selling almost 2,000 season tickets before their first home game, the IceGators set their first of many East Coast Hockey League records. And also on opening night, with a crowd of 11,026, the IceGators set another East Coast Hockey League record. Let's see what happened on that night.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Everybody's adrenaline was just, man, I couldn't sleep the Saturday night before. I was bouncing off of walls. I was so excited. But I tell everybody, if you want to know what a true adrenaline rush is, that very first game, I was the first person to hit the ice, and I went out there, did not know what I was going to do, how I was going to enter. I went running out there and just decided to slide at the last minute. I said, I'm going to slide to the center ice. And when I hit the center ice and the noise that was coming from the crowd, it was just phenomenal. There's no way to describe it. You know, being the first one out there, the first one on the ice, and just listening. And man, there's no way to describe it. Like I said, you want to know what an adrenaline rush was? That was it. I don't think I slept for 3 days after that.
And as advertised, the fans were also treated with a couple of fights on opening night.
McEwen firing, Binge firing. This is a good one. Still going at it punch for punch. McEwen's got the sweater over his head, gets it free. Now he's throwing rights. McEwen and Binge going punch for punch.
Because it's not only in Lafayette, that works everywhere. You know, everybody in Canada, and the Canadians know the game so well. And, you know, even Canada, people love to see a good hockey fight, and you know, not only see a good hockey game, but see one good fight a night or 2 good fights a night, and it's just part of the sport. And you know, not that we condone it or sell it; it's just part of the sport. And the sooner people get used to that, the better it is. Like, you know, we're not selling brawls, and you know, that's certainly not what we're part of. You know, it's a good way of 2 men getting their angers out instead of hitting each other with sticks. You know, they do it the old-fashioned way.
It's funny you say that, because I've had a lot of people come up to me and say they think they're fake. And I'm like, no, they're not fake. I've got stitches here and stitches there to prove they're not fake. But I think that was the initial draw to a lot of people to our hockey games, was the fighting. The thing is about this league is there's more fighting and rough stuff in this league. And as you get to the higher leagues, the AA and the AAA and the NHL, there's not as much. But the initial draw, I think, for the first 2 or 3 months, we had 2 or 3 fights a game, and people were going nuts, and they loved it. But then, as the year goes on, and teams know our reputation and know that if they mess with one of us, they're going to have to mess with all of us, and the fighting kind of slowed down. But the people still kept coming out, and they started to learn the game a bit, and they've loved it and seem to have adopted us, and it's been great.
You need pretty much a combination of both. You need a tough team, you need goal scorers, you need pretty much a full team of guys who know what the role is supposed to be on the team, whether you're a banger or a scorer or a passer or a fighter. I mean, but fighting's part of the game, and it's going to happen when it's a game of emotions, and when you fight, I mean, it's part of the game.
Of all the fights the IceGators got into, there is at least one the fans will never forget. It happened December the 3rd, 1995, and is now referred to as the Tallahassee Brawl.
It was one of those things where you didn't really see it coming, that kind of a brawl coming. You thought that, well, yeah, Tallahassee's frustrated. You didn't really see the explosion about to happen. And then sure enough, you know, of all people, Rob Valasevic, the guy who scores 40 goals for us, is the one who gets hit and defends himself, and then Freddie Goltz got into it, and you knew the minute that their goaltender left the crease Well, that's a rule in hockey where that's it.
Fred Goltz with a couple of big right hands. Oh, Goltz is going crazy. Stasiak just turtling. Now the goaltender Bell jumps in. This thing's breaking loose. Here comes Brian Schoen end to end. Everybody in the ice fighting. Brian Schoen going crazy, going after the goaltender. Barry beating a guy up. This thing is broken free, and the Gators are cleaning house. Spoltor comes over. 5-on-5 fight. Brian Schoen.
It was just one of those things where everything happened so much at once that you just tried to describe it, but I don't think you could do justice to what was going on that night.
As the season progressed, there were less fights and more hockey. The IceGators were now fighting for the Southern Division title. The fans had improved their knowledge of the game, but were still having a good time.
I don't think anybody could have predicted this. I thought, once I met some people here, that they would really like it. They're big football fans. They like the fast, aggressive sport. So I thought people would grow to like it once they learned the game a little bit better. But for it to come out right off the bat and be so successful, it was unbelievable. And it was great to play here because of that. It really gets you going when you see 11,000 screaming fans doing the chomp every night.
Oh, it's wonderful. You know, they've got a lot of fans in the NHL, but a lot of them sit on their hands. They've got a unique symbol every time we score. They've got the chomp going, and that's something that's unique only to the Cajun Dome and to the Lafayette fans here.
Well, it's kind of funny because, you know, at the start of the year, I felt like my job was very safe. I can coach here for 10 years because nobody knows anything about hockey. But by the end of the year, I had people coming up on the street or on radio shows telling me, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? So, you know, people did catch on fairly quickly, and it was a surprise. It seemed like once they learned the rules, then the rest of it kind of took over for them. And it was kind of interesting. It still is kind of interesting talking to people. And you know, they're still a little bit off. They're not right there, but they're getting close.
I think the fans, midway through the year, really started to catch on as their interest in the team grew, their interest in the game grew, and they really caught on to what was going on. Granted, they're not up there with the Montreal Forum fans just yet as to the nuances of the game, but for a first-year team and first-year fans, I feel they really got knowledgeable, and you can tell they started to question things toward the end. You know, what'd you do that for? Why'd we go with that lineup? And it started to be, you heard the second guessing, which means they felt comfortable what was going on, and they started to believe in it, and they knew what was happening out there.
Towards the end of the season, it became obvious that the IceGators were going to break yet another record, overall and average attendance in the East Coast Hockey League. It happened the night before St. Patrick's Day. That night, the players were wearing a special occasion jersey, and at the end of the game, the fans received the first star for being the #1 fans in the league. The players even gave them something special. They came back on the ice to salute their fans.
We came in here, our goal was to break the South Carolina record, which was the East Coast Hockey League record, which was averaging about 9,140 some odd fans per game. That was our goal, and we're goal-driven people, and Dave was a very successful athlete, I was too, and we didn't want to give up good careers at America's Research Group to come down here for anything less than that. But that was, although that was our goal, I probably would have been happy if we had averaged a little over 7,000. You know, 9,700, like we did, not just to break the East Coast Hockey League record, but to shatter it, was something that I guess I can't even imagine was going to happen. But it did happen.
A lot of people, I'm going to say maybe 90% of the fans have, when they first come up to you, say, you guys have just turned this whole city right around, and you've been great for the economy, and you've given us a winning team here, and it really kind of gives you a big sense of pride inside, because we don't realize we just come here to play hockey, and we come here to do our job. It's a job to us, and they say that we've put this back in the community and this, and it's a great sense of pride for us to think that we've helped out Lafayette, and none of the guys, I don't think half the guys want to go. They want to stay here because of the people.
Off the ice, between the fan support